And I remember one of my ex-boyfriends actually broke up with me because of that, because he's like, you're too depressed and I can't handle it. I am now married, right? So obviously for those that do follow me, you guys know I'm married, I have a baby, I am living my best life possible, and I cannot believe that I stayed in that period of time for so long thinking no one's gonna love me. And once I broke out of that, there were so many people out there, so many guys out there. And I realized I would have never, ever met such a great, amazing man. I would have never married my husband, who, by the way, you guys, is the opposite of these men. Frequency that the universe is on is a very high frequency. We're actually radiating at a lower frequency. How are we supposed to get something from this energy level when we're all the way down there? We're not even on the same floor. It's kind of like, think of it as like a hotel. Let's say there's 12 levels. The universe's level is the highest level, so let's say that's the 12th level. We right now are just not doing so well. We're kind of in our negative mindset, and we're on level 1. How am I supposed to go grab something from the 12th level if I'm on level 1? I can't.
Are you on your way? Are you coming soon to me? No parking in LA.
Welcome back to another video on Divine Discussions. You guys know that I like to do these on Mondays because it's a great way to just start off our week. And I feel like Monday, I always need a push, so I thought I'd give you guys a push. Today's video is so special to me because it's all about mastering our emotions. And our emotions all stem from the way we think and what we say. And this is something that we should all be so aware of because it takes 1 second for our thoughts to ruin our day. I don't think people are as well aware of the fact that one thought can ruin your entire day. It affects your emotions that deeply. And even for those that are aware of it, like myself, it's very hard to stop that thought and not let it get so deep to the point where all of a sudden your emotions are now affected and now you're feeling crappy. You go from having the most perfect day to the crappiest day ever, and you're just like, wait, what went wrong? But most likely it's that you had that one thought and you didn't realize when to stop it and you let it spiral. I let my thoughts ruin my days sometimes too without even thinking about it or without even realizing that that's what's happening. And I'm not saying that you can always control your thoughts, but if you train your mind, you can control the majority of the time. And that's kind of how I live my life. It doesn't mean that I don't get negative thoughts. I get a lot of negative thoughts, but I have trained my mind on how to kind of separate the negative thoughts and turn them into positive thoughts, or kind of be like, you know what? Well, it's just a thought. Like it's not reality. It's just a thought. So just separating those two things helped me so much. Your mind is a very powerful tool. It's probably one of the most important things and most valuable things that we possess as humans. I have broken down the videos in a few chapters right here. And if you guys want to skip to a certain part that you feel like you want to hear more about, feel free to. However, if you watch the whole video, it'll be very nicely tied in together and it'll make more sense. Number 1, thoughts equal emotions equal reality. Number 2, let go of negative thoughts. Number 3, increase your frequency. Number 4, manifest. And number 5, take action. Chapter 1, your thoughts create your reality. This is something I've heard all over social media. I've seen these quotes all the time about how we kind of manifest our own reality through our thoughts. The simplest way to think about it is your thoughts influence your actions and your decisions. Therefore, they end up affecting your entire life overall. And don't get me wrong, guys, I don't think just a thought will help you manifest what you want. Like, I can't just be like, well, I want a dream house and I'm going to start thinking about that dream house and then tomorrow I'm going to have that dream house. The thought itself will not help you manifest, but it plays a really big part in manifesting what you want. Your thoughts equal your emotions. For an example, if I have a negative thought, I'm going to be feeling all these unpleasant emotions. But if I have a positive thought, I'm going to be feeling satisfied and happy and just a lot better overall. Eventually, these are the feelings that you're going to be looking at your outside world with. I'm going to share a personal example, something that I went through, something that I kept doing, and the mistake that I kept repeating over and over again. I'm going to call in Miss Huckle and Miss Twinkle. These two are going to help us explain exactly the thought process and how it works. So this is Miss Huckle. Miss Huckle is someone who's so fear focused and she would always dwell on a thought. And this is kind of how my mind used to look like before I trained it. And this is Miss Twinkle. Miss Twinkle is the trained version of me that I have trained for a long time. She is patient. She is relaxed. She takes a negative thought and removes it or replaces it. She doesn't dwell on a topic. She looks at the topic and she filters whatever needs to be filtered out. She makes sure that we stay positive no matter what. So an example, this is actually really personal to me, but because I feel like a lot of you guys probably went through something similar, or if not, you guys might be able to relate to this better. For the longest time in my 20s, I always attracted unfaithful men, like horrible men that were cheating on me, that were lying to me, that would always keep me as a last priority. And the reason for that is because Miss Huckle would come into my mind every single time a guy would approach me, ask me out on a date, flirt with me, any of that, and would start filling my head up with all these thoughts. Miss Huckle was so used to just operating from fear that she just assumed that she hadn't reached her potential yet and that nobody would want her. She would start filling up the mind with thoughts such as, I can't believe he's talking to me. I'm not even that pretty. I have to do my best to keep this man engaged. I won't ever have a chance like this again. Miss Huckle would go on and on and on until I was fully engaged with what she was saying. And after all those thoughts that would just keep going on and on in my head, I started feeling so upset every single time. I attracted men that weren't that great for me, that were just not giving me what I wanted because of Miss Huckle instilling all these things inside of me. And I just thought, well, if I don't take them the way they are and I don't accept whatever they're giving me, I'm never going to find anyone and I'm going to be alone for the rest of my life. And to be completely honest, I dated guys like this for years and it's not something I'm proud of, but it is something that I learned a lot from. I don't have regrets from it because if I didn't go through all of this, I wouldn't be sitting here making this video for girls that might be going through stuff like this, that know deep down that they deserve better, yet they're just sitting there because it's their Miss Huckle coming into their minds telling them that they can't do better and they're going to end up alone. Can you guys believe that? I am now married, right? So obviously for those that do follow me, you guys know I'm married. I have a baby. I am living my best life possible. And I cannot believe that I stayed in that period of time for so long thinking no one's going to love me. And once I broke out of that, there were so many people out there, so many guys out there. And I realized I would have never, ever met such a great, amazing man. I would have never married my husband, who, by the way, you guys, is the opposite of these men. He is so caring. He makes me feel good. He makes me feel confident. He is the reason for a lot of the things that I do in my life because he gives me that much confidence. And can you imagine if I was just stuck in that Miss Huckle mindset, I would have still been sitting there in a toxic relationship crying every night. But now I know that all of that was a learning experience and I had to really change my mindset in order to attract such a great man. And today, the 28-year-old me, proudly I can say this, I will walk away from anything and anyone that doesn't make me feel good, that doesn't see how worth it I am, that doesn't reciprocate my energy. I have an amazing relationship that I've developed with my mind because I brought Miss Twinkle, I trained Miss Twinkle, and now Miss Twinkle is one of the greatest parts of me, the most valuable parts of me. Miss Huckle and Miss Twinkle both are inevitable parts of me, just like you have your negative thinking and positive thinking in you, and it's something that you can't get rid of both if you wanted to. It's just the way our minds work. But it is great to just get on top of it. A few years ago, I would just let my mind think whatever thoughts they wanted and I would just go with the way they were going, whether it was negative, positive. I didn't care because I didn't understand how important this was. But now I really learned how to train both sides, the negative aspect and the positive aspect. So whenever Miss Huckle is being a little too negative, I just get Miss Twinkle to come in and push that out. Chapter 2, let go of negative thinking. Whenever I have a negative thought coming in, I literally address it by being like, look at Miss Huckle, she's back today. This helps me identify that it's just a thought. It's just Miss Huckle. It's not who I am. It's not the reality. It's just a thought. So let's hear what this thought has to say. And usually your thoughts will pass if you just allow them to. So when Miss Huckle says things like, oh, well, your body is never going to be as nice as it was before you had a baby. Now, if I let Miss Huckle and all of those negative thoughts take over, I'm going to start thinking, you know what? She's right. I'm never going to have a nice body again. I'm never going to look like that again. And that just leaves me feeling powerless and pretty shitty about myself and kind of insecure too. And after having this new mindset with Miss Twinkle, whenever Miss Huckle comes in and says these things to me, yes, I might dwell on it a little bit. It might take me a little while to call in Miss Twinkle, and that's totally normal. But once Miss Twinkle does come, once I intentionally call on Miss Twinkle, it'll kind of go like, you birthed a beautiful baby. You brought life to this world. Your body is powerful. Your body is able to create life. Your body is able to do so much more. Like losing that weight. Body is transformative. And all of a sudden I start feeling so much better about myself and I feel more confident. And I'm like, yeah, like, look at me. I birthed a beautiful daughter. I gave life. I gave life. Just that sentence overall makes me feel so good. And that's all because I chose to change that negative thought into a positive thought. We have to remember that we are in charge of what we tell ourselves. We control what we tell ourselves. It's honestly our choice if we want to change our thoughts. Yes, it takes practice. Yes, it takes time, but it's really up to us and we just have to be conscious of it. Chapter 3, increase your vibrations. I can't begin to tell you how thankful I am that I realized the importance of increasing my vibrations. I want to start this chapter off by telling you guys a little bit about frequency and vibrations. Like spiritual vibrations basically means that everything around us is made out of energy. You, me, things, everything. And I think there is some science behind it. I know there's a lot behind it, but I do not know exactly what it is. So if you want to do your own research on how we're all made out of energy, go for it. But as of right now, what I want to talk about is how you and I and everything, like our animals, our items, our houses, everything is energy. Each vibration is either on a lower frequency or a higher frequency. Kind of like negative thinking and positive thinking. Low frequency is very similar to having the negative thinking. It's produced by negativity. And high frequency is produced by positivity. So every single one of us has either positive or negative energy. We carry that energy every day to our daily lives. No matter who we interact with, that energy is with us. So let's go into the details of having negative energy and positive energy. Let's start with negative energy. Like I said earlier, negative energy equals low frequency. Now, people that are vibrating on a low frequency, they're usually those people that are always talking shit about people, always negative. They never have anything positive to say. They're always complaining about their lives no matter what is going on. And even if good things happen to them, they look at it in a negative aspect. You know how people say, oh, the vibes are off? That's basically how we feel about negative people. So low frequency is basically the vibes are off. And this is something I kind of trained myself to do. Every time I hang out with someone, I like to sit down with myself and be like, how do I feel? Like I went in feeling like this, but how do I feel after that person? Because most likely that person's energy has transferred into your energy. And now if you might be feeling shitty, it's most likely because of the last interaction you had or the last hangout you had with somebody. So this is very important. Have you guys ever gone from somewhere and then you were feeling so great when you went there, but when you were leaving, you felt kind of shitty and you're like, I don't know why. It doesn't necessarily mean that that person was negative or that person was bad, which sometimes it does mean that, but sometimes it might just be that person might be going through a lot, right? And maybe you went there to really be there for them and you knew they were going through something and that energy may have unconsciously transferred into you. That happens to me all the time. The thing about having negative people around us, we always want to help them, but the truth is that they can only help themselves. We are only in control of our own mindset and the way we think, and our thoughts equal emotions. Remember, that is the key from this video. Thoughts equal emotions. So you kind of have to always master your mindset in that way where you're feeling good. You're not feeling negative and shitty. And most people that are super negative, it's because of that one thing. It's because of their thoughts. Their negative thoughts must have taken over and now they're convinced that life kind of sucks. And that is such a shitty way to waste your life away. And I'm not being judgmental in any way. If you are someone who is very negative, it's okay because there are ways to change this. And I hope this video is one of them. And I myself used to be a very negative person. Every single thing that would happen in my life, I would just look at it in a negative way. And I went down that exact same spiral. It was to the point where it was affecting my friendships, my relationships, everything around me. Nobody wanted to be around a negative person all the time. It's draining. I realized that I actually ended up putting myself into deep depression. And I remember one of my ex-boyfriends actually broke up with me because of that, because he's like, you're too depressed and I can't handle it. And now that I look back, like, yeah, that's kind of messed up, but I think my depression was basically because of the way I was thinking. I'm not saying depression is not real. Of course, it's a chemical imbalance in your brain and it is real. But for myself, now that I think back, I think my mindset had actually driven me into being really depressed and having a lot of anxiety. And the main thing I learned from just that whole experience was I was robbing myself from that joy that I deserve to be in and have. It's okay to feel like this from time to time. I still get sad from time to time, but just don't let it take over. So let's get to the fun part of this. How do we increase our frequency? There are so many ways to just increase your vibrations and feel amazing. The obvious one that we spoke about earlier is to be aware of our thoughts, but because I went into a lot of details of that, I'm going to skip that one over. Another thing that I've realized that really helps me is starting my day with gratitude. Whether it's getting a pen and paper and just writing down exactly how grateful I am, what I'm grateful for, or just in my mind, I like to just lay there and be like, thank you so much, God, for another day. Thank you so much for my beautiful daughter, my bed, my room. Thankful for my first glass of water. I think the reason gratitude works so well is because when we focus on what we are grateful for, we think of the things that we already have, not things that we want or don't have. So just thinking about all the things you already have makes you feel so good and really shows appreciation for it. And when we wake up and we acknowledge the things we do have and we're thankful for it, we automatically start feeling so good, which puts us in a higher frequency. And some people like to say that they have nothing to be grateful for, but if you're watching this, clearly be grateful for at least the screen you're watching it off of. I don't care where it is, if you borrowed it, if you rented it, if it's yours, I don't care. Be grateful that you get an opportunity to watch something. That is amazing. And I'm not saying be grateful for me, which, that would be nice. But I mean, in general, like with anything, like when you drink a glass of water, be grateful for it. Or like on a serious note, there are so many things to be grateful for. Like breathing. We're all breathing. And that's such a beautiful thing to be grateful for. Nourishing your body with vitamins and minerals. Eating good, healthy meals that have veggies and protein and carbs, all that good stuff for you. Be aware of the things that you're putting into your body that isn't good for you. It's okay sometimes to have a little bit more sugar. Like right now, I'm having an ice cap. I'm not saying to be perfect. I'm just saying to be mindful and making sure that you're eating properly. This week, I have actually not been doing that great. So this morning, I actually woke up and took my vitamins and I was like, oh, I have to. But usually I do a really good job. So just like always try to get back on the vitamins when you do forget a few days, because I know that happens. But to make sure that you are just taking care of yourself, because when we're having the good, adequate diet, you do feel much better. Another way is by moving, exercise. I go to yoga classes at least 2 to 3 times a week. I go to spin once a week, and I'm starting Pilates tomorrow. I'm really excited. It's an intro class, Club Pilates. Wish me luck. And it wasn't until I really started loving myself, figuring out how great it is to actually exercise and do things for my body, that make me feel a natural high once I get out of the gym or get out of whatever workout studio I'm in. The reason we feel so good after moving our body, like working out and doing some intense cardio, is because we're sending oxygen and nutrients to our tissues, which actually end up making us feel way more energetic, so you get a lot more done. We also release endorphins that are called the feel-good hormone. And if you guys want to know more ways to increase your frequency, a quick Google search will help you, because there are so many ways. Chapter 4, manifesting. This is my personal favorite. I feel like I have manifested a lot in my life. I went from feeling complete shittiness and just having a horrible life to feeling amazing and full of love and compassion and happy and fulfilled. Manifesting is an actual real thing. Maybe not the way that people kind of advertise it. Oh, I want a Ferrari, now I have a Ferrari. No, it doesn't really work that way. Once you master vibrating at a higher frequency, you're actually a step closer to manifesting. The reason for that is the frequency that the universe is on is a very high frequency. We're actually radiating at a lower frequency. How are we supposed to get something from this energy level when we're all the way down there? We're not even on the same floor. It's kind of like, think of it as like a hotel. Let's say there's 12 levels. The universe's level is the highest level, so let's say that's the 12th level. We right now are just not doing so well. We're kind of in our negative mindset, and we're on level 1. How am I supposed to go grab something from the 12th level if I'm on level 1? I can't. I'll make my way up to level 12 in order to get that. Remember, we always need to have some sort of action to make our way up, but all of these little things will help, like you're changing your thought process. All these little things will help you kind of slowly get there. For me, like I really wanted to be a vlogger, a lifestyle vlogger, and especially about like personal development, all of that stuff, because I remember when I first started, that's what I was doing on Snapchat, but I never really did it to the point where it was like YouTube, where like people can actually search it up and look for it and watch it anytime. It doesn't disappear in 24 hours or a little bit longer than that now with the new Snapchat feature. But what I'm trying to say is I wanted to do that so bad, but my thoughts made me not want to get on YouTube because I was so scared that some of you guys might make fun of me. That some of you guys might be like, oh my God, she thinks she's the shit. She thinks she's Dr. Phil. She thinks she's a therapist, blah, blah, blah. I am not a therapist. I am just a girl like you talking about normal life things that we all go through. And I'm just telling you guys how I processed all these things and how I changed my mindset. But there are some people that might just be like, oh, she thinks she's a therapist. She thinks she knows everything. I don't know everything. I'm just learning. I just put myself out there because I'm like, you know what? Screw it. I don't care what you think anymore. And that's all because of the little steps I took. I manifested being a vlogger. And no, it wasn't just like, I want to be a YouTuber and that's it. No, I changed my thought process. I stopped caring about what others might think of me. I always thought about the positive outcome. Well, what if it blows up? What if it's amazing? What if it actually helps someone? If my Snapchat helped someone back in the day, I know that this channel will help someone. So believing in yourself, right? So that's like, I'm one level ahead. Now I'm on level 2. Then I was like, oh, affirmation. So every day I would wake up and I'd be like, I'm a YouTuber. I am monetized on YouTube. And you know what? I got monetized so quickly. It was crazy. And I barely posted. So that I feel like was manifestation, but also a little bit of more action because I did do a lot of strategic videos that I knew would get a lot of views that would get me to be monetized. So when I started doing all these affirmations and I started changing my thought process, I also started working towards it because now my thoughts were so positive that it pushed me to do better and work on that aspect. And taking action is such a crucial step in just really respecting ourselves too, because it's like you're doing what you're saying. You're not just saying it, you're actually doing what you're saying. For the longest time, I didn't do what I said. And I always felt so shitty deep inside because I'm like, oh my God, I am such a yapper. Nobody wants to be a yapper, but I was a yapper. I would literally be like, yeah, I'm going to do this and this and this, and then never do it. And people got tired of it. Like, dude, you've been talking about this for so long and you're still not doing it. You know, you don't want that. And even you deep down will feel shitty because you're like, wow, like I'm not even doing what I'm saying. Now this new improved you is ready to start her dream life. How amazing is that? I am so happy for you. And I really hope that you can find something that you're just so passionate about and make it into your passion project that actually makes you money. So stop wasting your life away for quick and fast doses of happiness and do something that really fulfills you. Life is way too short for us to just waste it away. I hope this video resonated with a lot of you. This does bring us to the end of our video. Let's make 2024 our year together. And remember, it is never too late. I'll see you guys on next Monday's video. Thank you so much for tuning in.